Hi class, so today we're going to be finishing up our final unit reflection for our work on the rise and falls of empires. Um, on Tuesday, if you remember, I asked you to be thinking about the question, are there any empires that still exist in the world today? Or are they just a thing of the past? Is it something that only exists in history, or are there examples of modern nations that follow imperialistic motives and structures? Um, these are questions that historians, anthropologists, political scientists are constantly asking themselves. And it's a widely debated topic, which means that there's really no right or wrong answer. There's no way to fully prove it or to fully disprove it. It's something that there's a lot of different thought on. So what you're going to do today is you're going to be inquiring into how two adults in your life think about this. What do they think? Do they think there are modern empires? So you're going to use the attached document called Modern Empires Interview to complete this assignment. So let's look there together. So the very first thing you're going to do before you conduct your interview is you need to define what an empire is. So you're going to use all 9 characteristics of empires that we learned this unit. And you can find those in our unit slideshow here, which is on Google Classroom. If you just scroll down, you'll find our unit slides here. And if you are struggling with what these 9 things are, if you're still not fully grasping it, you can go back to our Unit 3 vocabulary that we created together at the beginning of the unit, and that is, again, in Google Classroom, and you just have to scroll down to the very beginning of our unit right here. So, going forward from that, back to our document. So, you're going to define an empire using all 9 characteristics. I've sort of shown you how to do that here with this example, and I've chosen common language in my example, but I said an empire has a common language that everyone in it must use to officially communicate. So that is an example of how you can take the definition of common language. So a common language is the language that is used in official settings in an empire, right? Remember the Ottomans, in the Ottoman Empire, not everyone had to speak Turkish. They were allowed to speak their own language, but for official business, they had to speak in Ottoman Turkish. So this is an example of how an empire uses a common language. So in your definition, explain how the empire uses or has or shows that specific characteristic of the empire. Okay, so you should come up with about 9 short sentences that explain each characteristic of an empire and how those define an empire. So once you finish that, then you're going to keep that definition to yourselves. Don't share it with the people that you're interviewing yet. You're going to hold on to it. And the first thing that you're going to do is use this table and use this structure to perform your interviews. Here are the questions that you're going to ask in this far column, and then here are the places where you're going to record the answers of the first adult and the second adult. If you're having any problems doing these interviews, please email me and let me know. But just make sure that you record your answers in English. I understand some of you might speak other languages with your parents, and that's awesome and wonderful and totally fine. Just make sure that you record those, you use your translation skills, and you record these answers back in here in English. Okay, so the first question you're going to ask is the adult. You'll ask the adult what their definition of an empire is. So don't share with them what your definition is yet. You'll just ask them what their definition is and you'll record it. Then, after that, you will ask them if they think, based on their own definition, that there are any modern empires. And so they'll say either yes or no. Maybe they want to give an example. And you'll record that answer here. Then now, at that point, after you've asked them those first 2 questions, then you'll tell them your definition of an empire using our characteristics. And then you'll ask them, after hearing your definition that you created, you'll ask them if they change their opinion on whether modern empires exist, and ask them to give an example if they think that there are modern empires. So you'll ask 3 questions: what the adult's definition of a modern empire is, what an adult's definition of an empire is. So you'll ask the first question, what is their definition of an empire? The second question, if they think there are any modern empires using their own definition, the definition of the adult. Then you will share with the adult or your definition, the one that you came up with up here. And then you'll ask them if that changed their opinion on modern empires, and if they can think of any examples of modern empires. You'll record all of the answers here, and you'll submit that, and that's your assignment for today. I understand maybe some of your parents are working, or you might not have time to sit down and talk with them about this today, and that's okay. Since tomorrow is a holiday, maybe you'll all be home together, and that's when you can do the interview. So don't stress if you can't do this right now in our class time. Just try to get it done before Tuesday, okay? Because on Tuesday we're going to start our next unit. So go through this Modern Empires worksheet, complete Modern Empires interview worksheet, fill it in, and turn that in when you finish. Again, remember, no stress on completing it right now during our class time. I understand your parents might be working, or you don't have anybody home with you, but you can turn this in at any time before next Tuesday, and that will be fine. I hope you have a wonderful long weekend, and I will talk to you next week. Bye.